This conference will now be recorded.
He had a yeah. He couldn't make it because his um he had a family medical emergency. His mom broke her fibula last night. Yeah, well, that's the second one. So light burn. Okay, looks like we're at 7 o'clock. So let's get this started, please. All right, let's begin by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We do have a quorum tonight. Danny Krigler is not here, but all the other members of the Planning Commission are. We need to look at the agenda, see if there needs to be any changes or additions. If not, we can look for approval of the agenda. So do we need any changes or additions? Can I hear a motion to approve the agenda as it stands? Moved and seconded. Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. All right. We need to review the minutes from the June the 1st, 2022 meeting. So let's take a quick look through those.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that first sentence up here says the Madison County Planning Commission workshop meeting.
Wrong template. Wrong template. Okay. That's true. All right. Okay, do we need any other corrections or additions? All right, if not, can I hear a motion to approve the minutes with the correction? Okay, seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, the minutes are approved as amended. Okay, beginning the public hearings portion. As always, we will have each case presented by Ligon. He will answer any questions from the Planning Commission. Then if the applicant wishes to address the Planning Commission, they can and answer any questions. And following that, if there's public comment, then the time is available for that on each case. All right, first case, case number RZ-07-22-16. Madison Land Holdings LLC has applied to rezone a 2.08 acre parcel from R1 Limited Residential to B1 Business. An existing single-family dwelling is located on the parcel, and its address is 1173 Fishback Road, Madison, Virginia. The parcel is identified on Madison County's tax maps as 40-19A. All right, Ligon, any input on that?
I know we've talked about this in numerous meetings. I think we're all kind of caught up. I won't go over everything again, but we do have a copy of the proffer letter. Mr. Bannon, he signed it. It's what's in your packet. So this would be binding to the, basically becomes a part of the zoning, and it would pass if this were to be sold. I'll just go over real quick on water and sewer. Number one, the desire is to be on public water and sewer on this, but we're still waiting on the capacity study for the sewer treatment plant that's just very conveniently located by this project. The water is also desired. It is located, the line goes to Maple Drive, which Mr. Bannon and I just measured it somewhere probably a little less than 4,000 feet from this property, a little less than 3,000 from the edge of 4020, which is the adjacent property that he rezoned. You might recall back in January. So that is the desire. But if for some reason the sewer plant is still not improved, or we made no action, or no action has been taken on that, and the ability to bring that water line through some private property, we do believe there's some easements there that he can bring it across. So that is preference. I think anyone that develops this property, that is the preference. But if need be, that could work through the health department for a private well and septic. There is one on the property, but it would not anticipate it if the house that's there is removed. It's really not anticipated that would really most likely be able to serve any kind of commercial interest. Number two on the proffers is the signage. I know it's a small thing, but I do believe monument signs, honestly, when you're looking at highway sort of development, I think they just look nicer, and Mr. O'Bannon seems to agree, and he hasn't had any issues. So I think a monument sign, though it's a minor concession, I do think it's something that does aesthetically look more pleasing than maybe a large pole sign. You can see the uses are limited to retail public uses. So there are a few things like office spaces and things like that that would not be considered. Really, this site where it's located, I think some sort of use that takes advantage of the location near the 29 would make sense. 4, I think, is an important one. As you know, 4020, the parcel to the south, that front 3 acres, if you look at the zoning map, is rezoned B1. Whether or not it will be connected to this parcel, we don't know. As far as maybe the same development, it very well could be. But regardless, we're just saying here that it will be connected. If there's parking lots there or whatever, you will be able to go from this parcel to the next parcel without having to go out onto Fishback Road. And I think that's another important sort of site specific proffer that will come in handy. And the last, at the very end of the proffer statement, just basically understands that we need a site plan. Like what VDOT says, they'll evaluate it when they get a site plan. That's when the hard engineering we expect will be done. Preferably, we'd like to see this commercial area and the adjacent commercial area site planned all at one time. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Mr. O'Bannon has stated, as far as, looking at both these parcels, 4020, 4019A, this parcel, they anticipates the storage units, because we've been talking about these properties for a little over a year now. The storage units is anticipated to be the first sort of thing that's going to come forward with a site plan with the apartments. So we can expect that, whether or not it'll be next 6 months or year, but that's what Mr. Bannon anticipates. And then we'll get into the site plan and looking at, how the sites are arranged and egress, ingress, obviously entrances when we get turn lanes. We'll be working with their engineer on that. Other than that, I won't add too much more. That's not in my report. I think that, if there is a piece of property that makes sense, that is commercial, giving its location, its other commercial property around it, its proximity, 229, with the understanding we'll have a site plan. We'll talk about entrances. We'll look at 29 intersection to see if there are really any improvements that could be made. But that's something that we anticipate, we'll look into in the future once we get a specific use. So other than that, that's all I have. Any questions for me before we move forward?
Okay, if anyone has a question, please make sure your mics are on. And does anyone have a question for Lee? Okay, we have discussed this through 2 workshop meetings, so I think we're pretty much up to date on this. All right, does the applicant wish to address the planning commission, or?
I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. Does anyone have a question for the applicant?
Yeah, laid out for you. Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Turn it up a little bit. I'm deaf. I can hardly hear you.
Bruce, there's a request, the speakers. Is that the
You can
feedback?
turn it down after this.
That's about it. Okay, yeah. That's probably worse.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. We realize there's a module component that we ordered to replace. So the higher he goes, there's a little pitch. You probably hear it now, but is that the highest you can go?
That's okay. If I say this,
We'll,
okay,
yeah.
I'll say that.
All right, okay. All right, any other question from the planning commission for the applicant? All right, any comment from the public? All right, if not, can I hear a motion on this case, please?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that case number RZ-07-22-16 be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval with proffers.
Okay, do I hear a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so case number RZ-07-22-16 has been recommended for approval by the planning commission. Thank you.
All right, next one?
Yeah.
Did you want to read it?
Next case is case number SU-07-22-17. Nicola Vivaldi has applied for a special use permit to operate an automotive repair shop on a 355.5 acre A1 agriculture zone parcel. In the A1 zoning district, an automotive repair shop is allowable by special use permit. Proposed shop would operate from an existing accessory structure located on the parcel. The parcel contains 2 address points, 6726 and 6730 South Seminole Trail, Rochelle, Virginia. The parcel is identified on Madison County's tax maps as 55-22. All right, Ligon, any information on that?
Sure. Mr. Vivaldi could not make it. He had a family emergency, and his mother had a family emergency and wasn't able to make it tonight. So I did talk to him this morning. He apologized for not being here. I know he's been at a couple different meetings. I didn't, I thought that we could move forward without him. The first thing is I did get the letter from Mr. Lightburn, and, y'all had asked for that. Just, he understands that this is a special use permit would be issued to Mr. Vivaldi, and if it is to be transferred, then he can't take it over. It would have to come back to the planning commission reports and to the board. if you look at the proffers, that's what the first condition, so actually, these are conditions that we can impose on this, and I think it's helpful if the applicant's in agreement, and he is in agreement. Understand that if it is be transferred, it would be another hearing. The existing structure would need to be certified by a licensed engineer. If you look in the packet that Larry actually on my report, very last page of this packet, he did have an engineer look at the building, send us a letter to certify it. I think Jamie needs a few more things, but this is, he's obviously an engineer out to say that it does, in the engineer's opinion, meet the appropriate codes for a garage. But again, Jamie needs a couple more things from him. We'll be sure we get that. On the bathroom, I think there was some, I did talk to Emily from the health department, and given that they don't know how this pump and hall was installed, they would prefer, given the year timeline, to install a drain fill that they just use a temporary porta-john, and Mr. Vivaldi said he can do that immediately. So he'll get that delivered in a few days. So we can just strike August 1st and just just make this Friday the date, which I guess is July the 9th. I know we had talked about, there was a question about the 5 vehicles at any given time. I talked to him about that, and I know, other people in staff, and we had talked about it. He doesn't need more than 5. It doesn't, to him, that's fine. If we want to eliminate it, that's fine. But I kind of look at it, if he's willing to limit it, then we have a lot, we know what's going on out there. He can't really grow in size, but the nature of his work, he doesn't really need more than 5. He was very adamant that, appreciate the thought, but he really, 5 is more than enough at any given time. You will notice the last thing is VDOT did look at it, and given the nature of the small scale of it, they didn't see any issues that weren't really any more thought or any more improvements to that entrance. So other than that, have we changed that one condition to having the temporary bathroom in by this Friday? I think we're all on the same page.
Okay, so on proposed condition number 3, that'll be dated July 9 instead of July 6. Is that correct?
Well, actually, the interim use, the pump and haul, will be discontinued on, we'll say July. What is today? I'll get today's date. So Friday will be the 9th. I can count. So Friday the 9th, it'll be discontinued, and they'll get that delivered.
Okay.
8th.
All right, you also have the bathroom shall be installed on or before July 6th, which is today.
Right, and that's next year. We're giving them a year.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. It's terrible to get old. All right. Does anyone have
No
a
problem.
question for Ligon?
Yes, I do.
All right. Thank you, Pete.
Ligon, so ultimately, when he installs a bathroom, is it going to go to a pump and haul, or will it be a drain field?
No, it'd be a traditional drain field.
It'll be just, okay. The other question I got, I guess, is for Sean. Can he get a special use permit and not be the landowner?
My understanding, and I'm glad you asked that question. My understanding is that the landowner has agreed to this special use permit, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the landowner sign the application as well?
Well, he's on the application. He came in for the meeting, and he obviously gave me that letter consenting to it. So,
Yeah, so he can do it.
Well, I just know in the past, sometimes with Betty, she's always said the landowner had to be.
Well, and in this
Special
case, the
use permit,
landowner
no.
is the one,
Okay,
but it's
I just want to
subject
clarify. I'm
No,
okay.
no, that's a good question.
I'm not against this. I just want to clarify.
Thank you, Pete. Any other questions? And again, this has been through 2 workshop sessions. So we have asked lots of questions. All right, no questions from the planning commission. The applicant's not here. Do we have any comment from the public on this application? If not, may I hear a motion on this case, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that case number SU 07-22-17 be approved as presented.
Okay, any second? Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
One clarification.
Yes.
You are recommending to the Board of Supervisors approval. Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, case number SU-07-22-17 will be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval. Thank you. Next case number S-07-22-18. Woodbury Forest School has submitted a site plan to construct a multi-purpose athletic building on its campus. The building is proposed to be roughly 23,215 square feet and be utilized for basketball, pickleball, and various other recreational activities. The total site disturbance would be 0.99 acres, approximately 43,122 square feet. The building would be near or off Tiger Drive and is located on Madison County Tax Map 66-8. And again, we've seen this through several workshops. Ligon, do you have anything to add?
I do have the full set of plans. If anybody wants to look at them, they are here. Be happy to pass those out. Just a few things. I know Reed is here from Woodbury for School. Appreciate him coming, and they're always a pleasure to work with. And they no questionably hire some of the best folks to put their plans together. And just this, it's 0.99 acre of disturbance. So just for your information, it doesn't need a stormwater plan, but it will need erosion sediment plan. And it being over 40,000 square feet, if it was under 40,000, it could be done administratively, but since it's over, that's why y'all get a chance to look at it. But I think it's, like I was telling Reed, it's kind of good that everyone knows what's going on, and they've got a beautiful campus, and this is going to be a nice facility that I'm sure the students and faculty, maybe some people in the community will also enjoy. So other than that, if you have any questions for me, like I said, these plans are quite detailed, and look forward to it starting and breaking ground and moving forward with it.
Okay, any questions for Ligon?
Yes,
Yes, Pete.
I guess one question I got, Ligon, 0.99 tenths of an acre, not really an acre of ground with this size building. Far as topsoil removal or dirt that's dug out for foundations, storage, and all that type of stuff, it'll all be done inside of this 1 acre?
That's probably a better question for Matt. I don't think it has to all be inside. I mean, there can be, but it has to all be contained and fencing, and when everything's put back, I mean, just that less than an acre has been disturbed. So I'm not totally sure. I don't know if you know that, but I mean, I would imagine it probably will go over a little bit of an acre as far as when they move some earth around, but it all has to be silt fenced and contained on that site for sure.
So everything will be contained on the site,
Yes.
no haul away.
I'm not really totally sure about some of the topsoil, if it'll be hauled off or not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Any other questions for Ligon? All right, would the applicant's representative like to say anything? If you'll grab a mic from somebody, please, so we can have it recorded. Yeah. We have a couple floating around. Here you go. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you all for having us on the agenda, and also thank Leighton and everybody else here for helping us as we've gone along. I've worked around Charlottesville a lot, and it's been great working with you all and very helpful. So I hope we can continue that. Thank you.
Okay. Pete, did you want to ask your same question for?
No, I think Sean has answered.
Okay, good, close enough.
Matt has talked to him and told him what this deal was, so I'm satisfied.
Okay, thank you. Any other question on this then? Do we have any public comment on this? Be hard to do since there's nobody here. Okay. All right, in that case, do I hear a motion on this case?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that case number S-07-22-18 be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, many seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. So case number S-07-22-18 will be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval. All right, last case for the evening. Case number OA-07-22-19. It is proposed to amend Madison County subdivision ordinance and add an Article 4-2-3. This proposed amended new Article 4-2-3 would be as follows. 4-2-3. Periodic partial and final release of any bond, escrow, letter of credit, or other performance guarantee. The county shall have 30 days from receiving written notice from a landowner, subdivider, or developer et al. To inspect projects to confirm the bonded work and improvements have been completed in compliance and conformity with the terms of a performance bond. After confirmation, the county shall release that portion of the bond for which the improvements/construction has been completed. If all bonded work and improvements have been completed, then the entire bond will be released. Code of Virginia, Section 15.2-2245, Sections A, B, C, D, E, and F as amended. All right, Ligon?
Well, I know again, it was we talked about, and most of the bonds that we deal with are in our office or E&S bonds for land disturbance activities. And often, like with South Park Shopping Center, you get a lot of improvements done, installed, and it's allowed by state code. So we just are really bringing our county code up to state what allows. And South Park is a good example. They had moved along. I think we were holding a $70,000 bond or whatnot. And it's understandable that folks would want some partial of that released as things are completed and inspected and checked off. So this just allows us to do that. And again, I think most of the bonding that we do are going to be erosion settlement. So I think Matt does a good job of inspecting and making sure things are built to plan, and we don't release a bond until we're all in agreement that the work has been completed.
Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, Peter?
Ligon or Jonathan, either one of you. This assumes, this language, the county shall release that portion of the bond for which the improvements construction has been completed. Are these bonds issued in a way that they identify particular portions of a job?
Yeah. So maybe Sean would answer, but when you do it, it usually is enumerated. This is what we're doing. This is the cost, and it kind of goes a list. So it should be. We're putting in stormwater structures here. We're matting grass here. So it usually is quite detailed. And I don't think that the person that posts the bond or the entity is going to, put grass seed down and want, $50 back. It's once they have substantially put in, South Park was a good example. Once they had put in the stormwater structures, they probably want their bond back on the $20,000 we were holding on stormwater structures. Sean, you have any?
Yeah, Peter, that's exactly how it works. What typically happens is the bond schedule is submitted. And this is why they have an incentive to make sure that it's accurate. And Mr. Elliott can probably answer this with even better detail than I can. But the idea is you put a value on each stage of what is being done. Now, as a practical matter, we may not have been doing that because it's always been an all or nothing. But moving forward, my expectation would be that with our bonds coming forward, we will have an itemized list as to the items and the particulars on the bonding requirements. And then what would happen is that gives Matt Ehlers something to work from to determine how much, if any, of the bond to release, assuming that they're in compliance.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Any other questions on this? Okay, well, again, we don't have any public present. Does anyone from the public wish to comment? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we vote,
Yes.
I'd just like to say, I clearly understand that this is something that the state recommends, and the county is going to have to do it to come in compliance with the state. But I've been involved in a lot of bond work and seen a lot of bonds and seen money give back and seen what happens afterwards. And I clearly understand what the state is asking for and what the position that the board's in, but I can't support this because of that fact.
And in that regard, I am sympathetic to what Mr. Elliott has just said. Unfortunately, he's not in the state legislature, and the state has made it pretty clear that this is the way we have to go.
Okay, any other comment or question from the planning commission? All right, in that case, can I hear a motion? I assume Pete's not going to make a motion on this one. Anyone making a motion on this case, please?
Yes, I'll recommend that case number OA-07-22-19 be recommended to the board.
Okay, do we have a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
All right, majority approves for recommendation to approve this to the Board of Supervisors. So case number OA-07-22-19 is recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval. Okay, thank you. Any other items that we need to look at tonight? Okay.
I'll just make a little announcement that the Kriglersville School will be at the workshop, the applicants, and we can anticipate public hearing that's in August. So we're working through details, and hopefully at our July 20th meeting, we'll have a lot of details and for the Plan Commission and everyone to look at and to think about before we go to public hearing.
For one of our most popular topics historically, yes, okay. All right, any other comments or questions?
Well, just one picky
Yeah.
little point. We've been referring to this as ordinance number, as case number so-and-so. It's actually ordinance number so-and-so.
Well, yeah, the OA means an ordinance.
That's why I said it's picky.
All right, if not, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Moved at any second? Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. We will hand this over to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
All right. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors portion of this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. Anybody have anything we need to add to the agenda this afternoon? What's the pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. As always, let's start with public comment. Public comment. Public. Living Center, there's a ton of people watching us. Not a one. That's fantastic. All right. Moving into the agenda. Case number RZ-07-22-16, Madison Land Holdings LLC has applied to rezone a 2.08 acres parcel from R1 limited residential to B1 business. An existing single-family dwelling is located on the parcel and its address is 1173 Fishback Road, Madison, Virginia. The parcel is identified on Madison County tax map as 40-19A. Ligon, do you have anything to add?
No, sir. Just know what I said. Happy with the, with the proffers and working with Mr. Bannon as always. Easy, and appreciate his willingness to listen and look forward to him bringing a site plan and working on that whenever it comes.
Questions for Ligon? All right. Mr. O'Bannon, go ahead. Mr. O'Bannon, anything to add? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think I've got one for Mr. O'Bannon. Mr. O'Bannon, I'm looking at the first condition. Can you get that up there? So as I understand it, and I want to be clear with this condition that if you hook up to public water and sewer, that you would bear the cost of running those lines to your property.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. So I think the way it reads right now, that's not clear to me. And that's the reason I brought it up. So Jonathan or Ligon or Sean, can we craft
Mr. Yowell, perhaps if we add the language after the word is available on the first sentence.
Yeah.
If we add at landowner's expense,
Okay.
I think that should
Is that
address your
good enough?
concern.
Well, I think that's understood.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I agree that, and that's the reason, I brought it up.
Service
So,
Authority is not going to bring it to me.
yeah. Okay. At landowner's expense.
And it would be appropriate if Mr. O'Bannon is in agreement to modify the language in paragraph 1 to include that expression
Those, yeah,
at landowner's expense.
At the
Yeah.
end of the first sentence.
is available at landowner's expense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is available, comma, at landowner. Yeah, it works there as well. That's
You amenable to that, Mr. O'Bannon?
I think I am. I'm not hearing you folks very well. If you would read it exactly what you're going to do, Leggett, because I can hear you.
Yeah, so it would be if or when that very first one.
Yeah.
If or when the parcel's existing single-family dwelling is demolished and a commercial development is constructed, this commercial development shall be connected to public water and sewer if capacity is available, comma, at the landowner's expense. Which I think
Correct. That's fine.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
as long as if it's available.
Yes, sir.
That's what I mean. If I have the taps available to the sewer plant.
All right. That was,
All right,
that was
so
my.
We
only
do,
question.
with this case, we have these 4 items that are proffered into it. All 4 have been described and recommended to the board. Does anybody have any questions on the proffers or the amendment to the first paragraph? Mr. O'Bannon says, okay. To the public. All right, back to the board. What would y'all like to do?
Mr. Jackson, just as a point of order, it may be appropriate to specifically, in whatever motion is made, specifically identify the change to paragraph 1 as part of the motion.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Gregg, would it be also appropriate just to read the 4 proffers or conditions, or we?
In an abundance of caution, sure.
Okay. All right.
It's early.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number RZ-07-22-16 with the following four proffers, the first of which has a small change to it. So, number one, if and when the parcel's existing single-family dwelling is demolished and a commercial development is constructed, this commercial development shall be connected to public water and sewer if capacity is available at the landowner's expense. That last at the landowner's 4 words were the change. As determined by Rapidan Service Authority, RSA, if public water and sewer is not available to the subject parcel, the parcel shall be served by a private well and septic system to be approved by the Virginia Department of Health. Number 2, the parcel signage shall be limited to a monument-style sign attached to a base/foundation not to exceed a total height of 8 feet from the ground, and wall signs affixed to a building or buildings, signs or buildings. Number 3, the parcel's by right business/commercial uses shall be limited exclusively to those uses identified in Articles 8-1-1 retail store, 8-1-2 service business, and 8-1-3 public uses as listed in the county's zoning ordinances. Number 4, for the parcel's internal, vehicular, traffic, and inter-parcel road connection to the adjoining parcels, tax map 40-20, B1 business zoned area shall be made. That's my motion.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mr. O'Bannon. Case number SU-07-22-17, Michelo Vivaldi has applied for a special use permit to operate an automotive repair shop on 355.5 acres, A1 agricultural zone parcel. In the A1 zoning district, an automotive repair shop is allowable by special use permit. The proposed shop would operate from an existing accessory structure located on the parcel. The parcel contains 2 address points, 6726 and 6730 South Seminole Trail, Rochelle, Virginia. The parcel is identified on Madison County Tax Map as 55-22. We have some proffers on this one or some proffers and conditions on this. It runs with the applicant. Mr. Lightburn has signed off on this application. There is an abandonment of the pump and haul. A temporary bathroom would be installed on Friday 7-8-22, and 5 vehicles is the maximum, is what's recommended. Ligon, anything to add?
No, sir.
All right. Any questions for Ligon? The applicant isn't present. Is there any public comment on this case? All right. Back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number SU-07-22-17.
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. Yeah, please.
That's assuming that motion recognizing the change that you talked about, Mr. Chairman.
It's
The
with,
date.
is your motion with the recommendation from the planning commission?
Yes.
All right, and the second goes with it. No,
Yeah.
worth mentioning.
Mhm.
So we've, I guess, validated the motion. Second, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Case number S-07-22-18, Woodbury Forest School submitted a site plan to construct a multi-purpose athletic building on its campus. The building is proposed to be roughly 23,215 square feet and be utilized for basketball, pickleball, and various other recreational activities. The total site disturbance would be 0.99 acres or 43,122 square feet. The building would be near off Tiger Drive and is located on Madison County Tax Map as 66-8. Ligon, anything to add on this
No,
case?
no, sir.
We heard Mr. Elliott's question about the if anything was going to be hauled away, and the engineer said no. Questions for Ligon? The applicant left, but heck, he's got a family to go home to. To the public. Nothing. Back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for council. I am an adjacent landowner. Should I recuse myself from the vote?
Unless you are an owner of Woodbury Forest School, you do not need to recuse yourself.
Are you an owner?
No.
No, not an owner.
Just a neighbor.
Well, that's unfortunate for you. Thanks for the question. Any further comments or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case number S-07-22-18 as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Case number OA-07-22-19. It is proposed to amend the Madison County subdivision ordinance and add an Article 4-2-3. This proposed amended new Article 4-2-3 would be as follows: periodic, partial, and final release of any bonds, escrow letter of credit, or other performance guarantee. The county shall have 30 days from receiving written notice from a landowner, subdivider, or developer et al. To inspect projects to confirm the bonded work and improvements have been completed in compliance and conformity with the terms of a performance bond. After confirmation, the county shall release that portion of the bond for which the improvements/constructions have been completed. If all bonded work and improvements have been completed, then the entire bond will be released. Code of Virginia, section 15.2-2245, A, B, C, D, E, and F as amended. Mr. Webb, anything to add?
I've talked about bonds more than I probably have ever talked about bonds in my life, but
It's an exciting topic.
But no, I really don't anticipate this it being anything but in-house sort of we do have large bonds that, understandably folks, once they finish something, want release as is commonplace in most localities. So I don't anticipate this being anything but a good thing.
Questions for Mr. Webb, Mr. Gregg, or Mr. Weekly on this topic? All right, to the public. And thank you for the head nod, Livingston. We appreciate it in every way. Back to the board.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number OA-07-22-19 as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded.
Mr. Chairman, before we go through, is the intention to adopt ordinance number 0A-07-22-19 as presented?
Yes,
But the
sir.
purpose is to actually adopt the ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll amend my motion to say to adopt the ordinance as recommended by the Planning Commission.
That's the way to
Okay.
be, Jim. The amended motion and amended second to adopt case number OA-07-22-19 to the Madison County zoning ordinance. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Anybody got anything we need to discuss? All right, back to the public. We're giving plenty of public comment periods here. I mean, nothing. Yeah, that's a shame. No closed session. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank y'all.
Hey, Lincoln, I gotta ask you something. Oops.
Well, it's no RSA meeting.
Yeah, 76
This conference
seconds
is no longer being recorded.
from gavel to adjournment. this past weekend. Thank you, gentlemen. Right.